right, so here's a second strategy for multiplying two numbers together. The last one we did was all about using base 10 blocks to help us. This time we're going to be using some different models. We're going to be learning about something today called partial products. I just want to remind you that in a multiplication problem, when you multiply two factors together, you get the answer or the product. This particular strategy uses what's called partial products. So partial meaning part. So they're breaking the math problem down into several different pieces, and then we're going to add those parts together. So let me show you what we need to do for this one. The first question says, the hiking club has 3 groups of hikers. Each group has 12 people. How many hikers are in the hiking club altogether? So they're asking us to find 3 times 12. Now the strategy for today asks us to make this into an array. We've used arrays before when we are multiplying numbers together and showing numbers. So we're going to go ahead and put that array together. I'm going to make mine a little bit less detailed than the one on your page, or we're going to be here for a long time. So go ahead and just follow along with me with your page. They're asking us to draw a rectangular array, and we're going to separate the 10 into its place value spots. So number 1 says, draw a rectangular array, separate 12 into. Well, we're taking that 12 and we're going to be looking at the 10s and the 1s in the number 12. So I'm going to draw the rough estimation of what that rectangle looks like. Now, there's some boxes on the sides of it. They're set up like this. I am going to draw just the rough outline of this. I'm still going to use the same number so it makes sense, but I'm not going to draw every single square because that's a lot of little squares. So when we're taking a look at this problem, next to it on the left, you have the spot that we were just talking about, where they're asking you to separate 12 into 2 different place value spots. So the number 12, I'm going to circle it up here so we know what we're working with. 12 is really a 10 and a 2, right? 10 plus 2 is 12. Those are the numbers that are going to come over here and be in these boxes. Okay? These end up getting added together. This side is going to be for the other numbers. So we have 12 represented as 10 plus 2, and then this box is going to be the other factor we're multiplying by. So when you take a look at what this square is, we're basically finding the area, okay? Just part of the total product. So inside this box, which we have done before, we're going to be doing 3 times 10, okay? That's what this rectangle represents, the array of these numbers, okay? So 3 times 10 is equal to 30. And now we're going to find the area for this box. So it's this side times the one on the top. This particular box is showing us 3 times 2. And 3 times 2 is 6. Okay? In number 2, underneath right where you're working and where we just filled in, it shows you those exact multiplication problems, and it wants you to fill in the answers, which we just happened to do. So we're going to do 3 times 10, which we figured out is 30. And we're going to do 3 times 2, which is 6. So we're just taking this information directly from the boxes we made. Now, if I needed to, I could draw in the whole grid here, but you understand that this part represents 3 times 10, and this part represents 3 times 2. So now they're asking us for step number 3 to add the partial products, because this is part and this is part. So we're going to take those answers, which I'll circle here in purple, and we're going to add them together. So for number 3 on your paper, they're asking us to take the parts, the partial products, and add them together. So we would be adding together 30 plus 6, and that's a total of 36. Okay, so underneath that we have 3 times 12. We know what that answer is because we just did the multiplication. We just did it with partial products. So that means there are a total of 36 hikers. Okay, on the back of this page, we're going to be doing it again with a different set of numbers. So we're going to take 4 times 21 is the next one they want us to try that with. And we're going to use the idea of these partial products again, finding parts of the answer and then adding them together. So the first problem says 4 times 21. So we're again going to be making that array that we had talked about before. So I'm going to be doing it with partial products. So I'm going to draw my rectangle. This factor is going to go here on the left-hand side, and then I'm going to break 21 down into its tens and its ones. I draw it just about the size that it is, so this piece is going to be 20, because I'm breaking down this 21 into the tens and the ones. Now I put a little plus up here just to remind myself later on that's what I'm going to be doing with that. So when we separate the 20, we turned it into 20 and 1, and that's going to be your first set of blanks there. We've gone ahead and drawn the array that we're using in our partial products model. So we're going to be doing the next steps for number 2. So this is part of number 1 on that problem. This is part of number 2. Number 2 says find the partial products. That's going to be the answers in these boxes. Remember? It's just like area with an array. So we're going to multiply the side here times the top here. So in this box, it would be 4 times 20, which is 80. And in this box, it's going to be the 4 that's on this side and the 1 at the top. So it would be 4 times 1, which is equal to 4. They're having you drop those down. So for number 2, it said 4 times 20, and we filled in our 80. And the other box was 4 times 1, and we filled in our 4. They have little arrows on your page that are asking you to drop that down to the next step for step number 3. So we're going to take this 80 and we're going to add it to the 4 because these are the parts of the total product. Okay, when we do that, we get 84. So 4 times 21 is equal to 84. Down here at the bottom, it asks you to explain how to draw this model. So you're going to be using your words to talk about how you set it up, where you have one factor on this side, and you break up the other factor into its place value spots, the tens and the ones. Then you can do the multiplication for each box for the partial products, and then you add them together to get the total product. All right? And down at the bottom, it asks you to explain how you would multiply 3 times 32. So you'd be using 3 times 32 as your starting numbers and explaining how you would multiply the 3 times 30 and then the 3 times 2 and add them together, those partial products, to get your total product. If you have questions about it or need additional help, mvaw123@gmail.com. We'll talk to you soon.